Hey buddies, this is Waylon. I hope you had a great night and are having a good Monday so far. I've been reading for a few hours, preparing for my week, and did some reporting already on wonderful Oprah Winfrey's speech last night and some other aspects about last night from the Golden Globes. Hope you all caught that. It's on Elephant Journal. If you haven't seen it yet, I put both a very short snippet of the video. It's good to watch that, not just read the quote. Really hear it from her and feel the energy there. And there's also the full speech, which hasn't been shared that much. People in our society, we tend to just soundbite the hell out of everything. I really encourage all of you to take a moment and listen to Oprah's speech. It's powerful. And it's powerful not because it's about her. It's powerful because it's about her and all of us. It's an American speech for right now. And I really hope folks listen to it. So on the front page of Reddit, changing gears a little bit, I can get that Oprah link in the comments. I'm not seeing it. Sorry, one moment, folks. All right, here it is. My poor computer is, I'm sure you all know the feeling, a little tired. All right, there it is. The link's in the comments. Yeah, so a million people were saying, that is something I want to touch on. A lot of people were saying Oprah for president last night. And I tweeted something like, have we learned nothing from Reagan to Trump? Let's stop electing people just because we like a social media moment. Oprah's speech is profound. Oprah is a profound person. Would I vote for her? Hell yes. But there's actually, we've ragged on politics for so long that we no longer seem to respect those who have worked in politics and know politics. And politics is also the act of public service. It would be great if we could elect people who actually have devoted their lives to it, perhaps like Bernie Sanders, who have not enriched themselves through it, perhaps like Joe Biden, and who actually knew the full terrain. That said, Oprah is incredibly powerful and knows the power of her words and how to move people, and she's a good person. I get it. But following President Trump, I'm just a little tired of electing people because we happen to like their TV show. So let's get to the subject at hand. Narcissism. So narcissism is something that is incredibly powerful and popular subject on Elephant. People are always reading about narcissism. People are always reading about empath or being highly sensitive, too sensitive, some might say. For comfort. And Buddhism actually looks at both from an opposite point of view that is actually helpful, not just solidifying. So we can solidify that there are narcissists over here, and we are empaths over here, and narcissists are toxic. That's another powerful word. Let's get some of these links in there. I've written about this a fair amount. The Buddhist point of view is that we are all a little bit narcissistic, that narcissists aren't evil, that there is a condition called narcissism, and that we can fall into that condition like any addiction almost and buy into it. So some of us can be far more narcissistic than others, but vilifying those who are narcissistic out of some sort of self-righteousness is not helpful or accurate. And on the flip side, the empath thing, we all think we're empaths. Isn't that convenient? And other people, mostly ex-girlfriends or boyfriends, are narcissists. It's too convenient. We have to look at the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson might remind us. We all have the capacity for empathy, but the empath thing is really the opposite notion, is that I'm highly sensitive and I need to protect myself. That literally is a description of ego in Buddhism. And again, ego is not bad. Ego is not evil. We all have ego. I have ego. You have ego. Ego can be insecurity. It can be arrogance. It can be either. So if we want to get past the kind of false dichotomy of empath, narcissists, we have to be willing to find our hearts and remember that empathy is at the root of the empaths, right? I already put that link in there. Empathy is at the root of the empath thing. So empathy, caring about others, is the point. So if all we're doing is trying to protect ourselves, that's understandable. I get it. Life is scary, life is tough, but close my email. But protecting ourselves is not the way to a fulfilled life. Yes, we need to have clear boundaries. That's common sense, but the notion is cocoon. So we have an article on Elephant about that, cocoon. When we cocoon ourselves, we actually deprive ourselves of emotion and of life and of love. So we don't want to do that as empaths. We want to be empathetic. And then, which is, again, the opposite. Being empathetic, there's a wonderful Buddhist quote that says, do not have hesitation to let your light shine upon anything. So that sounds a little hippy-dippy, but it's actually kind of the opposite. The notion is that you can be brave, you can be foolhardy, you can be generous. As Eleanor Roosevelt would remind us, happiness is found only through kindness, not through selfishness. You can have all the money in the world, you can have your own private basketball court and a jacuzzi and flat screen TV in every room. But if you're selfish, you're not going to be able to enjoy it. You're going to be afraid of losing it or jealous of others. So narcissism, again, there's a study, it's on the front. Sorry, I'm just recovering from having my ears stuffed up, a little sick, like half of Colorado. Narcissism, there's a study, it's on the front page of Reddit right now, about how narcissists actually like other narcissists, which is so interesting. You would think narcissists would be jealous and competitive with other narcissists, but I guess it's just like any tribe. So the point here is that about 10% of my Instagram feed, my phone's over here, but 10% of my Instagram feed is people who are, you could say, are more or less conventionally attractive, posting photos of themselves, their faces, their bodies in every single photo. Now, none of us are here to shame selfieism or groupieism. You know, it's fine. It's great to take selfies. It's great if you're at the, traveling around the world, you're going to want to take a photo of yourself and your friend in that place. It's totally, this isn't not a judgment thing, but narcissism is a tendency that we all have, and it can be exacerbated. It can be encouraged, like water in different vases. The vase of Instagram is really visual, right? With some captions. And so please, if you want to help narcissists heal, don't encourage them in their narcissism. The extreme example might be a Donald J. Trump or a Logan Paul, right? And again, that's not a political comment. I'm sure there's huge egotists on the liberal side, and it's not a comment against YouTube. There's plenty of great people who do stuff on YouTube that is super informational. But let's stop rewarding the kind of Kim Kardashianization of this culture, the reality showization. When people see a speech they like from Oprah, immediately we say Oprah for president. Our society doesn't need to be this speedy and this superficial. Oprah is a powerful, powerful person. Again, I've already talked about how wonderful she is. I'd gladly vote for her. But we don't need to elect actors. We can elect people who actually, look, I could have been, locally, I'm relatively well known here. I'm very well known in Boulder, and I could have been elected to city council any old time. And I've always loved politics. And the reason I've never run is because it actually takes real work and focus. And I don't have that capacity. I'm running Elephant, and I respect those who actually take the time to read 85-page weekly packets. Do you think Donald J. Trump is doing that? Let alone for the presidency, not just Boulder. So it takes real work. Let's elect humble public servants to the presidency. Let's stop encouraging narcissism in ourselves and others on Instagram and elsewhere. Reward those accounts. Like Peggy Markell is an account I love. She has some photos of herself. That's great. She has a million photos of food and travel at Peggy Markell. Our accounts at EcoFolks. You won't see even on @Waylon_Lewis, my account, me kind of getting off on myself. I actually probably post a photo of myself once every week or two. It's obviously with this ugly mug, why would you post more often? But basically with narcissism, to wrap up, we can heal, we can afford to be kind and have clear boundaries. And with the empath thing, we need to, as Buddhism says, turn the flower outward. Empath cannot be about protecting ourselves. It has to have clear boundaries, but be about kindness to others. And I'll just wrap up with a reminder of the Me Too movement and the importance of it. Just this morning in the New York Times, I was reading about this professor at Columbia who had pushed himself and his bits on female students for, it sounds like, decades. I encourage all of you to read about it. And when you read these specific stories, it's just horrifying. And at the root of this story about this professor forcing himself on his students and making fun of them, belittling them if they didn't give in, or if they stopped accepting his advances, literally just openly trading, saying, if you give me sex, I will introduce you and promote you. The most damaging thing about this story is that he is perverting. People really looked up to him. He was a charismatic teacher. He was a great photographer. He is. He's perverting the mentorship thing. So let's give a shout out to all the kind mentors out there. Let's, if you are a mentor, it's a sacred responsibility, and it's really, it's precious, and we have to respect it. So I think that's about it. I'll respond to a couple comments, like Alan Kaufman, who says he's done with me and I feel what I say is important. Some of what I say might be important accidentally. That's probably just passing along some of the Buddhist teachings I've been lucky to study, because I'm a total nitwit. And I am a narcissist, and that was sort of the point of the videos, that we're all a little bit narcissistic. And if you listen to the video, maybe you would have caught that. Or maybe I was just really bad at explaining it. All right, Nancy, Oprah for National Inspirational Leader, amen. But let's think about 2018 right now, the midterms, amen. And removal of all those who are undoing our basic human rights, both left and right in Congress, are not fighting us the looting of our economy. Sorry, the comments are, Facebook toggles the comments, so I can't read all of them. Yeah, world leaders have to be a little narcissistic. I feel like people aren't really listening. Narcissism isn't evil. When we buy fully into the solidity of narcissism, that can be where evil comes, when it becomes selfishness, buying into its own selfishness. But I am narcissistic, you are narcissistic. I am empathetic, you are empathetic. We are all messy, big human beings, and that's why Buddhism has the path, the Eightfold Path, meditation being a fundamental part of that. So we could put a link for meditation in here. Anna, I'm Waylon Lewis, and I am the founder of Elephant Journal. And thank you for your kind comment. Jose, nothing ends in peace unless through war. I would disagree with that. War can be necessary occasionally, but war is usually waged by old, safe men sacrificing the lives of young women and men, rape, pillage, and economic destruction. War is stupid. Yeah, bathrobe is key. This is a Koyuchi bathrobe. It's organic. I'm trying to reclaim the bathrobe from wrongdoers like Harvey Weinstein. All right. Someone's mad at me for wearing a bathrobe. Now there's a lot of discussion about the bathrobe. Well, I've been under the weather for a while, so, sorry, folks, but I'm still working. Nicole, you're great. Love your comment. Yeah. So we have tons of articles about narcissism. I think I'm just gonna, there's so many comments. I don't know if I can reply to all, but let's elect responsible people. Let's not encourage narcissism on Instagram. Let's make friends with our own narcissism. Let's not too harshly prejudge others for being narcissistic. If we are empaths, let's remember that empathy is the heart of that. And I think we're good. I will give a shout out to Elephant Academy. If any of you want to join me and some amazing writers and teachers, yoga teachers, Instagram stars, all this, these are people who are using, not in a narcissistic way, using social media, using writing to be a benefit to this world and showing you and me and all of us. We have hundreds of people do this Elephant Academy every 3 months. The link is elephantjournal.com/academy, and you can gain the tools to do your dream career, to do your right livelihood, to do what you love 8 hours a day and make money doing so. And that's what we teach in Elephant Academy, and the new session is coming up. So since so many of you are here, I thought I would mention it. If you'd like to join Elephant for the Winter Academy, it's at elephantjournal.com/academy. Brooke, totally agree. Totally agree. Brooke Coleman, people throw around the word narcissist. Exactly. It is a condition. It is a disorder at its most extreme, but fundamentally day to day, just in the same way that depression can be clinical, but all of us get depressed. We have to reclaim narcissism and reclaim the empath thing and realize that all of us hopefully are empathetic, which feel empathy, have caring. If you see something hurt, like my dog is laying down here on the floor, if I saw someone, this is an awful visual, but this is the point. If I saw someone kick him, my heart would immediately leap out of my chest in empathy, and so would yours. That is your fundamental, from a Buddhist point of view, that is your fundamental human goodness, that pre-thought you care when you see something or someone hurt. Narcissism, we all get high on our own supply, to paraphrase Scarface. Love this, Matthew. With the rise of veganism, people are beginning to realize it's the consumer that dictates policy, and the Facebook comment just went away. Yeah, Giselle, refreshing to hear you say that you are narcissistic and empathetic as well. We all are. Claire, how do you protect your child from a narcissistic parent? It takes great bravery. My mom had to divorce my dad. I don't want to be too personal because it's not exactly my story to tell, but let's just say it was pretty much as bad as it could be. And the act of separating me and her from the physical environment took a lot of bravery, and she had to do it safely. So Claire, get some friends, get out of there. It sounds like you may already be out of there and you're just looking to protect your child from the parent, not yourself and your child being in the same house. So that's a big conversation. We have many articles on Elephant about narcissism and parenting. Those articles represent really good advice from people who know far more than myself. But what I would say is, your question is the answer, as they say in Zen Buddhism. It is wisdom which is seeking wisdom. You wanting to protect your child is a beautiful thing, and I would enlist the help of some friends and the authorities if necessary. Yes, exactly, Jenny. That sounds right. Narcissism, people think they're better than others and full of themselves. Brenda, I have my bathrobe on as well, LOL. High five. Brenda and I are hanging out in our bathrobe. How do you deal with a narcissistic friend, Casey Fitzgerald? Well, first of all, we have to just define narcissism again. It's not a term we should casually throw around. Narcissism, at its most extreme, is sort of being sociopathic, is the person is completely bought into their own selfishness, their own thoughts, their own neurosis. But all of us have moments like that. The best way to combat narcissism in ourselves, and therefore train ourselves how to deal with narcissists out there, is meditation. So why don't we meditate? I'll give a little instruction. Are people up for that? We'll do it for 1 minute, and then we'll move on. Joe Sparks, that sounds good, but I mean, actually, I totally agree with Joe Sparks. F. Scott Fitzgerald said that. He said the moment you define someone as a type, you no longer have that person there. Yeah, Tanya, two wolves live inside all of us. We have some great blogs on that exact analogy. Okay. Lots of discussion about this robe. Wow. Okay. Let's meditate for 1 minute. Sounds like people are up for it. Take a good posture. So this is how we work with our own narcissism and the transformative ability of healing and having empathy for our own narcissism, but also having boundaries and discipline that is based on joy and fundamental goodness, allows us bravery and how to deal with others who go through narcissism. So this is your answer. Lindsay, right now we're doing it. Take a good posture, and we have many, many blogs if you want to read about specific techniques to how to deal with a narcissist. But generally, if someone is a full-fledged sociopathic narcissist, probably a gentle retreat. Just getting out of there is good advice. But if someone's just narcissistic, like many of us, there's a lot of questions you could ask around that. A lot of discussion that could happen. I need more specific situation from you. All right, meditation. This is what the Buddha himself taught. Take a good posture. The best posture you've had all week, all day. Same thing. And then relax your posture. Take a Wonder Woman posture, a Superman posture, and then relax. You can stretch your shoulders a bit. Your eyes should remain open. This is key. This is Buddhist shamatha. Eyes are open because we're not trying to separate ourselves from the world. There's nothing wrong with eyes closed meditations. This one, however, is eyes open because it allows the meditation practice to mix more readily with your everyday experience. Find your breath in and out. Breath can heal just about everything. One time when I was climbing, my climbing teacher said, remember when you're about to make a big move, the tendency is to hold your breath, and then you go. The opposite is how we need to approach life. Just like with that climbing move, you have to breathe through big moments. People do yoga know about this. Find your breath in and out. This is not boring. This is meditation. It might look boring, but what we're actually doing is we're training our minds to come to the present moment where all good things happen. Falling in love, a good meal, anything. So really do this. Find your breath in and out. Eyes open, good posture, hands are just flat on your lap. You can do this once a day in the morning, once a day in the evening. I can feel all of you breathing. It's a good breath in and out. Okay, let's say you're distracted. You're thinking about your day. You're thinking about lunch. You're thinking about an argument you had with someone you care about yesterday. That's all okay. You just notice it. This is where meditation happens. You notice yourself distracted, discursive, thinking, and just like with narcissists, not judging, but just being aware, you say, I'm thinking. Return your attention to your breath. Let's try that. Breathing in. Breathing out. Don't rush it. Breathing in. Okay, I'm thinking about an argument I had with a loved one yesterday. Thinking, label it, return my attention to the breath. Breathing out. Okay, I'm thinking about having cookies and milk, vegan milk. Label it, thinking, return my attention to the breath. Doesn't matter if the thought is good or bad, happy or sad. Just notice it, return your attention to your breath. And I generally meditate until I find that my attention is fully relaxed and fully present with my breath. And that's it, guys. It's that easy. Well, it's that simple. It's not easy, of course. This has been super fun. I'll try to answer some questions, but Facebook comments are not working well. Okay. Deborah, how do I deal with my narcissistic ex-boyfriend whom I have a child with? Well, this is, Deborah, first of all, we all bow to you. This is as hard as it gets. Often with narcissists, and again, we can't just say that anyone who we don't like is a narcissist. Narcissism is fully buying into our own thoughts, and we all have thoughts and selfishness, right? But at a certain point, we stop thinking, oh, this mug is a mug. We think, this mug is either making me happy or sad. At the point when reality is completely dependent, actual reality, human beings doing good or bad, animals, whatever, trees, nature, at the point where all that is in our mind less important than how it makes us feel, that is narcissism. So that is why often narcissism manifests in treating those who have less power awfully. If someone treats a waiter awfully, or animals awfully, or nature awfully, that can be a sign of narcissism, because it's showing that these people view these things as just making them happy or not, and that's all that they are to them. So when you're stuck with someone like your ex because you have a child with them, remember that this is in the words of Pema Chodron, life will keep sending you stuff until you've learned from it. So sadly, you're stuck here. You're a loving mother. You have to just stick with it. You don't have to put up with bullshit from this person, but you have to have clear boundaries all around for the child, because the child is going to have their connection with their father as long as the father is decent and safe for the child. So that's a hard one, and respect. Yeah, Elizabeth Keller, I like you. Narcissistic behavior seems to focus always on blame and not taking any responsibility. This is different than being empathetic and caring. Narcissistic behavior and being an empath, I think, is actually incredibly narcissistic sometimes. Here's what I mean by that. If we are empathetic, that is beautiful. If we turn that empathy into something we need to protect from the whole world, and others aren't as good as us because they're not empaths, that is narcissism posing as empathy. So a true empath is someone who feels their heart is raw. They feel like they have almost no protection from the world. And somehow, through the path of warriorship and bravery, of peaceful bravery, we use that empathy to nurture and protect and take care of others and our planet and our children and our animals. So if you're an empath working in empathy as a career, it can be powerful. Working for an animal shelter, working to protect our environment, teaching others. Okay. Yeah, Sandra, the role for elephant is not legal advice, and that should be clear. This is elephant is founded on the Buddhist teachings, but it's accessible to all: Christianity, Islam, non-theism, atheism, all human wisdom. But we are not here to be your lawyer, and you should not regard us as such, but for good advice, for community, and for occasionally bad advice that you can disagree with respectfully. That's what we're here for. We're independent media, not your lawyer. Yes, Scott. Amen. Deal with them with firm boundaries. No contact on toxic personalities. Yes and no. I mean, again, life is going to present us with narcissistic or toxic or difficult situations, and labeling everything we don't like as narcissistic or toxic isn't going to be helpful to us. It's going to keep us in our cocoon. So I really recommend you read Cocoon on Elephant Journal. Okay, folks, this has been a long one. Thank you so much. I apologize and or heartily defend my choice of attire today. I have been under the weather, and it is a cozy morning where I'm working at home. So this is the uniform for people who work at home. Sorry, but it is organic, so don't panic. And bye from Redford. He's behind me somewhere. Ready? Everything's backward. There he is. All right, he's ready to go out. Have me stop talking to myself. Big love.